IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from Budapest in the Carpathian Basin. I hope everybody is having a good weekend so far and looking forward to a nice productive week ahead. Everyone, welcome. Pachu, Tonmisi, An. Nice to see our regular students. Hi, Begjan. Good to see our members as well. Hi, Lydia. In this class, everyone, we are looking at speaking part 3, which is maybe the most challenging part of the speaking interview. I know the cue card seems difficult, but part 3 can be challenging, especially if the cue card was not done well. Response. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. That's academic EnglishHelp.com and IELTSHelp.com. That's GeneralIELTSHelp.com. On both of those websites, we have lots and lots of great materials for you. Kapil, nice to see you in the class as well. It's good that you're being studious. This is the academic website here with the blue background. You can click that big red button to join the premium package at aehelp.com. And when you join, you can practice your speaking for free with other IELTS students. And this is the general version here with the green background. You can click that big red button. Both of the websites have speaking practice, kind of like a Skype or WhatsApp, that you will find in your My Student account that you can use. So make sure you use that. And of course, if you have questions, just send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com. Now, this is a speaking class, students, so make sure to speak and repeat as much as possible. I'm speaking with a Canadian West Coast accent. It's very similar to accents that you would hear in Seattle or San Francisco as well. I'm from Victoria, which is beside Vancouver. Okay, it's a nice, crisp, clear accent, so definitely good to focus on this accent when you're using English. All right, so part 3. Does everybody remember what part 2 was about? Let's do a quick little review here, and that's very important because part 3 is a continuation of part 2, and as you can see, the topic here is using what you know, and using what you know also means that you're using, of course, the information that you spoke about in part 2. So your part 2 planning was really good. Bobor Murad says it was a life-changing thing. Yeah, there we go. Un remembers it clearly. Un says it's an idea which made your life better. Yeah. So the topic was talk about an idea you had to make your life better. And many of you are answering that the idea we talked about was Tesla. Yash, the special one. And Amanjat says, yeah, the Tesla made our lives better. Why did it make our lives better again? What were the reasons? So, planning to buy a Tesla so that I can do what? Why would I buy the how does that make my life better? So how does buying that Tesla make my life better? What are my hopes? What am I hoping will happen when I do this? Okay. All right. What were the other? So more convenience. Tesla so that I can have more convenience. Sure. Save some money on gas. Save money on gas. Conscience. A good conscience, or we also say clear conscience, that means that your mind is at ease, right? Your mind is at ease. And Srinivas Bontu says it's a status symbol. So okay, improved social status. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. So what you want to do is you want to remember this. So remember this information going into part 3 when the examiner, of course, says, now I will ask you. That's what the examiner says. The examiner says, now I will ask you some more questions related to the topic of part 2. So that's kind of a hint, like you should remember what you spoke about in part 2. And remember the 4th step, I think it was step number 4 yesterday, where we said think about 2 or 3 ideas. We also had some other really good ideas for how to make our life better. What were those other ideas? Okay. So other ideas that we thought about to make our lives better were, what were they? Yeah, so Srinivas says getting a university degree. The special one says studying abroad. So studying abroad, getting a master's degree in business. Okay. And doing some yoga. Very good, Carolina. Master's degree. And I said doing some yoga, right? Doing some yoga. Now, don't forget the reasons for these as well, right? So we had yoga because maybe a healthy body and mind. Master's degree in business because we can be successful in life and make money. Studying abroad because we can learn other cultures and master English. Make good connections. Okay. So again, students, don't forget these, okay? So a really important tip here is don't forget what you thought about, not just for your answer in part 2, but what you thought about for other possible answers. Yeah, Beck-John taking the IELTS test as well, because that can come in really handy, very, very useful for your part 3 answers, okay? So keep in mind not only your response in part 2, but also the other ideas that you had during planning, because these will, not might, but will come in very useful in part 3. Okay, this will help you, or I should say these will help you be more fluent and coherent. Okay, and those are the 2 most important points for those high band scores. Does that make sense? So does it make sense why it's important to keep those in mind? A lot of students forget these, and then I ask them a part 3 question, and they're kind of like thinking, and I'm like, I bet you probably thought about a good answer for this when you were planning for part 2. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so don't forget what you thought about in part 2. Okay, so let's go to part 3. So keep all of those points in mind. Good. I'm glad that everybody kind of gets what I'm saying with that. That's fantastic. Let's go to part 3, and let's use what we know. Okay, so let's use what we know from our part 2 that we just reviewed. Okay? All right. So here we go. So the examiner says that is the end of part 2. Now it will take back the card, the note paper. Too bad they take back the note paper because those notes could be useful for part 3. So the note paper, the pencil, and we will now continue with part 3. For part 3, I will ask you some more questions related to the topic of part 2. Let's talk about life improvements. Okay, no surprise. So what are some ways that people can quickly make their lives better? Okay. So what are some ways that people can quickly make their lives better? Think about what we talked about and give me a nice answer for this. So let's see what you come up with. Okay. Lydia says, well, there are certain ways that will positively change people's lives for the better, such as doing fitness, meditation, yoga regularly, earning a master's degree in business administration. Okay. Also buying a Tesla car for everyday commutes. Now, students, pay attention to the details of the question, right? Can quickly make their lives better. That's an important part of the question, the quickly there. Okay. So Abdul Boria says, university graduation and finding prestigious employment appears to be the most convenient phenomenon where people definitely improve their lives academically and economically. I agree with you, Abdul Boriev, but unfortunately, I wouldn't give you a very good grade for that because university and getting a good profession can take years and years of effort. It's not a way that I can quickly make my life better. Okay. So Peya says certain ways which individuals can rapidly improve their lifestyle are purchasing trendy and effective items like the Tesla I just mentioned, as well as depending on artificial intelligence, which can reduce human effort, like using Google Maps to find your way around town and find the best restaurants and stores. Yeah, Peya, that's a good answer. So notice what Peya did here, students, okay? The reason why Peya is giving a very nice high band answer here is because Peya is not only fluent, but even more importantly, Peya is coherent. And the way that Peya is coherent is Peya uses the elements of the question to make sure that her, or I think Peya is a woman's name, yeah, so that she stays on topic, okay? So Peya paraphrases this, rapidly improving lifestyle, okay? And that's what you have to do. You have to be coherent. So there are a few different approaches to rapidly improving a person's lifestyle, such as buying some useful luxury items like the Tesla I just mentioned. And another one that comes to mind is eating healthier, as this seems to help energy and positive mood in just a matter of days. Okay? So really using the question, all right? And of course, using what we know, and in this case, the Tesla, right? So when you buy a massage chair or a Tesla, as we just mentioned in part 2, that can have an immediate improvement on a person's life. So why did Pea do such a good job? Because Pea paraphrased the key elements of the question, okay? So keep that in mind. That's another tip for using what you know, because when you get the question, it's information for you. Use that information. It's using what you know, okay? So let me just make a quick note for you here so you keep that in mind as you go into your IELTS exam. Make sure to use the key elements of part 3 questions in your answers. Of course, paraphrase as much as possible so that you stay focused on the exact answer and get high coherence marks. Okay, it's the most important. So students, when you're thinking about like pronunciation, grammatical range accuracy, lexical resource, all of those are important, but the most important is coherence, how accurately you answer that question. Okay, so here we go. Repeat after me. Let's talk about life improvements. What are some ways that people can quickly make their lives better? There are a few different approaches to rapidly improving a person's lifestyle, such as buying some useful luxury items like the Tesla I just mentioned. And another one that comes to mind is eating healthier, as this seems to help energy and positive mood in just a matter of days. Okay. What are the best ways to achieve these? So, follow-up question. What are the best ways to achieve these? Okay. Think about it. Give me a nice answer. So, what are the best ways? And I will review more and more of your answers. I just want to get going here. Okay. All right. So, what are the best ways to achieve these? So let's go with Pea's since we finished on that. So Pea says the best way to achieve these items are either by applying for a bank loan, which I did in the case of the Tesla, if the item is pricey, or simply to go to a store and purchase without any delay. Nice, Pea, and because you're connecting, you're producing some really good language, and not just English, but good communication. Very nice. Shimranjit says the best way to achieve these is to actually put them into practice. Nice use of nice natural language, Shimranjit. So actually put them into practice. Like I talked about the luxury item, one shouldn't hesitate to get the necessities that they feel will improve their lives. Simranjit, don't use the word thing, okay? Hesitate to get the necessities to improve their life. Instead of thing, use the noun necessity. Necessity, okay? Simranjit, stay away from thing and you will get a better score for lexical resource. All right? I love Botir's answer. It's a bit simple, but you're quoting Nike, and it's one of my favorite quotes. Just do it. Just do it. Ben Stiller also says that in a couple of comedies. Just do it. And Nike has that slogan. Just do it. You definitely want to say more than that for the IELTS exam. Nonetheless, in real world, it is that simple oftentimes. So thank you for sharing that with us, Botir Raksmatov. Let's look at a couple of other answers. Arwin Kumar says, I think people should work harder and smarter. They should improve their knowledge and experience daily without complaining, even in the worst of times. Okay, Arwin, I think that's a good start. Maybe you want to explain a bit about how that will help me achieve these goals. Okay, Srinivas Bontu says people should get a bank loan and utilize their savings in the best manner possible through long-term investing. In this way, they can buy some high-quality luxury goods that will certainly make their lives better. Okay, good. Make sure to use some words, Srinivas, to be fluent and put that together in a nice sentence, fluent sentence, okay? The Mandarin says, also donations can make a positive change in the lives of both people who take and give at the same time. Mandarin, I think that's a little bit off topic, so not so much about charity here, but about personal choice. Pachu says, daily practice of yoga for good health and mind and seeing the reviews from the internet to buy luxury cars. Thus, technology is the best medium to find solutions for a happy life. Okay, Pachu, it's not bad. I think it's... you could connect to the previous answer a little bit more. Okay. So, through working diligently and smartly, people can earn lots of money, which in turn they can wisely invest into products that improve their overall well-being, such as the $120,000 Tesla that I talked about. In the case of improving one's diet, this has to be a conscientious decision, and a person has to make a clear plan and shop and cook accordingly. Okay, so there we go. Repeat after me. What are the best ways to achieve these? Through working diligently and smartly, people can earn lots of money, which in turn they can wisely invest into products that improve their overall well-being, such as the $120,000 Tesla that I talked about. In the case of improving one's diet, this has to be a conscious decision, and a person has to make a clear plan to shop and cook accordingly. All right. If you're catching some new words, make sure to write them down, like diligent or diligently. Okay? That means that somebody is kind of working hard and every day and from morning till evening. So they're being diligent. Okay? It's a more accurate way of saying hardworking in some sense. All right. Let's jump to the next question. And again, I will catch different students' responses as much as possible. So everybody join in on the fun. Use your English. Okay? Shaikh, I will catch yours as well. Parmar says the idiom burn the midnight oil. That means work late into the night. So next question. The examiner asks, how has technology helped in the last half century to make people live more comfortably? Right away, realize that, it's present perfect, has helped. So I have to use present perfect in my answer. Okay. And think about what we talked about in part 2 and think about maybe some of the other ideas from part 2 as well. Okay. Mohammed Azad says, this is a good question. I believe that technology has given us much assistance to make our lives more comfortable. For example, I learned a lot about how to maintain my health from various professionals on the internet, which would not have been available to me 50 years ago. Mohammed, is that present perfect? Got it? Next time, present perfect. Get those present perfect auxiliary verb have, past participle verb in there. Let me give you that higher band score. Okay. Un says, technological advancements have greatly enhanced the comfort of people's lives in the last 50 years. Both physical and mental effort of humans have decreased because of robots, computers, and the internet, such as even doing the IELTS in the computer-based version. It was much easier for me to type the task 2 essays than to write it by pen and paper. Right, very good. I just kind of went right into that smooth example there, okay? All right. Kapil Gaur says, well, technology has helped human beings in numerous ways in the last 50 years. Good, Kapil. Good start. Keep going. Arvind Kumar says, of course, technology has changed and helped many lives and makes comfort for all. At the same time, we lost many species like birds because of technology destroying the world. Arvind, that is way off topic at the end. You will lose marks if you do that. Okay. Nobody's asking in this case about how technology has been a negative on the environment. So Arvind, don't talk about that. Okay. Even if it's your personal opinion, just leave it out. Answer the question exactly. Answer, explanation, example. Rajveer says, technology has helped immensely in the last 5 decades to make people's lives comfortable. These days, people have the luxury to use online apps and websites to shop products and learn new skills, which was simply unheard of in the last 50 years. Very nice, Rajveer. Nice use of some natural language there as well. So tech has certainly had a massive impact on assisting people to live cushy lives, such as ordering products and food online without having to leave the comfort of their own homes, and even having entertainment in their pockets by pulling out their mobile phones and either watching a movie or playing an interactive game with friends. Such creature comforts were simply unimaginable 50 years ago. All right. So again, I'm really pushing you to improve your language, learn more vocabulary while giving you Band 9 answers. So here we go, students, repeat after me. How has technology helped in the last half century to make people live more comfortably? Tech has certainly had a massive impact on assisting people to live cushy lives, such as ordering products and food online without having to leave the comfort of their own homes, and even having entertainment in their pockets by pulling out their mobile phones and either watching a movie or playing an interactive game with friends. Such creature comforts were simply unimaginable 50 years ago. Okay, all right. Using present perfect has had, okay, a massive impact, so showing that important present perfect. and giving details. Creature comforts are conveniences that make our lives easier. Those are called creature comforts. It's an interesting kind of idiomatic expression. And here we go with the follow-up question. Are these always good? So is it always good to have this more comfortable lifestyle through modern day technology? Is it always good? All right, Lydia says, that's a tough call. I believe that technology can be addictive and it can hurt our communication skills. It has a major impact on the development of children and teenagers, especially those who have smartphones and spend too much time on social media, such as Facebook. Thereby, this can lead to physical issues such as eye strain and psychological issues such as focusing on important tasks. Okay, Lydia, that's a very nice, fluent, long answer. It's good. Okay, all right. Paya says, well, it actually depends on the individual's intention, whether they will utilize it positively or negatively. I would say the invention of nuclear energy, which we can use in both good and bad ways, is a totally good example of this. Yeah, Paya, I agree. Okay. Marasa says, I ascertain it's not always good because technology has made people lazy and dependent. That's why people face dangerous diseases like obesity. Additionally, people's lives have become somewhat complicated trying to answer all of the notifications and messages they receive on their phones, like through Facebook and WhatsApp. Kapil Gaur says, in one decade, for instance, the advent of mobile phones, the internet, provide the comfort of learning at home, which is very useful, and this is evident during the ongoing COVID pandemic. Very nice, Kapil. Nice use of what you know, right? How technology has really helped us to maintain a certain level of comfort, especially when there are unexpected challenges in life, such as a pandemic. Yeah, that's great. All right. Oliver Boss says, change in the student and teacher roles, increased motivation and self-esteem, technical skills, accomplishments, more complex tasks, more collaboration with peers, and the increased use of outside resources are definitely advantages of modern day technology. Right, Oliver? Oliver, you need to connect your ideas. I'm not sure exactly what you're expressing because your concepts are really segmented. Okay. Syed Fahad says, in my opinion, if it's concerned about oneself, yes, it will have more beneficial effects, like using a car in the proper way and smartphones for living a more convenient and enjoyable life. Okay, Syed, careful with your word choice and your explanation. Okay. Ayan Rizwan Prablu says it actually depends on the individual's intentions and how they use technology. For instance, if one's using a mobile phone for a negative purpose, yeah, it's bad, but they could also use it positively. Students, focus on the question and don't sit on the fence. Okay, so that's my tip here. Okay, focus on the question and do not sit on the fence. I hope that other teachers aren't really teaching this to do this it depends kind of answer, because saying that it depends is not usually a very good answer at all. Most people don't like the answer it depends. Think about yourself, okay? If you ask someone a question and they say, well, it depends, okay? I think most of us kind of feel like, ugh, can't you just tell me one or the other? it doesn't really help me to say it depends. Like if you ask me, hey, Adrian, should I go to Disney World or Disneyland? And I say, well, it depends. You might be like, can you just say one? And then I'll go there. Anyway, that's my take on it, right? So try to avoid the it depends, okay? Don't sit on the fence. Avoid. Sometimes you have to, sometimes it's useful, but in most situations, avoid saying or writing it depends. Okay? Nobody really likes the gray zone. Okay? Most of us want to have a yay or a nay. For guys, if you ask a girl out on a date and you say, hey, would you like to go on a date with me? And she says, well, it depends. The guy's probably like, oh, really? Same kind of thing. If a girl asks a guy, like, can we go watch this movie tonight? And the guy goes, well, it depends. And then the girl's like, can't you just say yes? Right? So we don't really like the it depends. Are these always good? The question, are these always good? No. I don't think that using the comforts provided by technology is always a positive. Often, the luxuries provided by modern innovations comes at a price. Such as obesity and the lack of social skills. Many people these days spend far too much time in front of the computer or TV, and they become overweight and unable to socialize with others. These are certainly negative side effects. Okay? All right. So, don't sit on the fence, one side or the other. It's usually better. And here, there's no reason to sit on the fence because it says, are these always good? We already talked about the fact that they can be good because that's what we said here. We said that, hey, there's, some definite good aspects to this, like being able to order food and products without leaving our home. So we don't need to repeat that. We don't need to say, well, sometimes it's good. We can just say, no, I don't think that using the comforts provided by technology is always a positive. Often the luxuries provided by modern innovations comes at a price, such as obesity and a lack of social skills. Many people these days spend far too much time in front of the computer or TV, and they become overweight and unable to socialize with others. These are certain negative side effects. All right. Students, I know that my speaking is sometimes fast, okay? And of course, I'm using some fairly complex words and a broad range of grammar. But don't panic, don't freak out. Just try to repeat me as best as possible, as much as possible. And remember, this video is up on our channel later, so you can review it, okay? So you'll be able to review it, all right? Okay. So let's keep going with the next question. What should governments focus on to make sure that people will continue to have a higher quality of life in the future? So part 3 questions, they definitely get more and more challenging. So let's target this one. What should governments focus on to make sure that people will continue to have a higher quality of life in the future? Pay And Mohammed and Lydia, I can tell that you've been really practicing these questions in advance, and that's great. Okay, that's great. All right. Lydia says, that's an interesting question. I suppose it's crucial that governments concentrate on improving the education system for their citizens. Therefore, a country can truly prosper by providing virtual reality during a pandemic, offering scholarships and financial aid for bursaries. The UAE government is making it priority to progress in the education system to prosper. Very nice, Lydia. And remember the part 2 planning and our part 2 ideas. That's where we can really use some of that information. Okay. Mohammed Azad says, for example, in the Emirates, they focus on providing services compared to the best international services provided in the private sector, providing customers with satisfactory experiences. Okay. I think, Mohammed, I might have missed something here, but it seems like you're a little bit ahead of the question. Paya says, as far as I'm concerned, authorities should put emphasis on environmental issues to have an improved lifestyle for future inhabitants, since the quality of air and water is rapidly deteriorating, and this must be fixed. Okay. Purvi, you're very, very welcome. An says, governments can either concentrate on providing people with better education, like building more schools and a greater healthcare system, which is available for both the poor and wealthy. Okay, poor and wealthy, you don't have to use people, because if you say the poor and wealthy, that is actually the noun in that case. So poor becomes the noun and wealthy can become the noun. People is intrinsic, it's understood. Okay. Simranjit says the government should make these new technologies and new sources available in their countries. They should support the positive outcomes of this. Very good, Simranjit. So you're connecting your answers. That's fantastic. Okay. Rajveer says authorities should focus on multiple fronts to assist people to have a higher quality of living. Governments should enhance education, transportation, and employment so that people can be their best, use these, and elevate their life standards. Very nice. Syed says authorities can provide a better life to their citizens, not only by making the place where they live more amiable, but also they can provide various subsidies so that the quality of life remains high. For instance, more running tracks, healthy food at lower cost, and more effectively trying to reduce traffic congestion. Syed, that is a beautiful answer. I made a few corrections there, but otherwise that was great. Okay, the idea, the content of your answer was fantastic. Okay, so national authorities. If you so using the word authorities is okay. If you want to be even more specific, because I know a lot of students are learning that one way to paraphrase government is to say authorities. A more accurate way to paraphrase government is by saying national authorities. Okay, so national authorities ought to. A lot of times you don't hear this, but ought to is actually a really nice way to express should. Okay, ought to emphasize. Emphasize is focus on. Okay, emphasize education, healthcare, and environmental awareness in their societies in order to ensure the ongoing improvement in living standards for their citizens. By this, I mean building universities, creating scholarships, publicly funded healthcare systems, and decreasing water, air, and land pollution. All right. So, one more time here. What should governments focus on to make sure that people will continue to have a higher quality of life in the future? Repeat after me, students. National authorities ought to emphasize education, healthcare, and environmental awareness in their societies in order to ensure the ongoing improvement in living standards for their citizens. By this I mean building universities, creating scholarships, publicly funded healthcare systems, and decreasing water, air, and land pollution. All right, again, some more vocabulary there for some of you, I'm sure. Make sure to catch that and write it down. And students, I'm going to stop there for today and for this week. I will be back next week on Wednesday at the same time with some speaking part 1. If you enjoyed this class and you want to get some HD videos with me and some other teachers, definitely check out aehelp.com. Join the premium package there. And for general IELTS, gieltshelp.com. Fantastic responses. Students, never be shy. It's not a competition. Always give an effort to write down your responses, say your responses in the classes. I'd love to see variety as often as possible. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. You're very welcome. Much love to all of you from Budapest. I'm Adrian. Bye for now.